the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time, and Bill Barnwell has brought up a free agent possibility for the 49ers in one guy that has a lot of versatility, Horst. What do you think about the 49ers signing Cordarelle Patterson?
As long as they're not depending on him to be a main part of the receiving rotation, I think it's great. He's a very good kick returner, 4-time All-Pro. He has 8 kick return touchdowns in his career. He's great at that. And then, as we all know, Shanahan's pretty good with moving guys like that around. He can play running back. He can play receiver. He could find a niche role in the Niners offense. You're looking at paying him around at most $3 million a year, so he's not super expensive.
So that's still too much for me, man. I don't know if I can.
He's not super expensive, but with the issue, they did have issues in the return game this year, and that solves that. Because if he can do one thing, he's a great return man. He's a 4-time All-Pro, like I mentioned, at return.
Yep.
So he does that. As long as they get him cheap, I'd be perfectly happy with adding Cordarelle Patterson to the Niners.
You guys have been real struggling with this name in the pre-show prep, but Cordarelle Patterson is a very diverse guy, positionless guy. We've been talking a lot about the positionless stuff here. He can do it all, like you said. He can rush the football. He can run routes decently, I guess. And he's phenomenal in the kick return game. And that's the thing he really would bring to the table is the kick return aspect. It's the special teams aspect. If you have to get him for $3 million a year, I don't do it. If it's 2.5 or less, I would say you got to at least consider it and maybe even pull the trigger on it. He can do a lot of different things. He had over 1,000 yards last year as a kick returner. That's pretty gosh darn insane for his career. He's averaging about 30 yards per return, which is nuts if you think about it. So that could help with field position stuff and field position swings and changes. Makes the offense function a little bit better, gives you a little bit easier time on the offensive end, not as much pressure on Jimmy G to work with 80-yard fields. If Jimmy G's a quarterback next year, maybe you get some 40 and 50-yard fields, convert some more drives into touchdowns. Could make the offense function a little better as well.
Yeah, flipping the field is so important in the NFL especially, but in all of football, because just that field position can help make drives not stall. If you have to go 75, 80 yards consistently, it's harder to score touchdowns. If you have to go 50 yards, it's a lot easier. So it's simple, but that's what they need to do. Richie James just doesn't get it done in the kick return game, and I hate to be that guy that just points it out, but he really doesn't. I don't think any teams fear the 49ers kickoff return or punt return. The only time they would is if Brandon Ayuk was back there. But the question is, do we really want the number 1/2 receiver back there taking it? But you've seen over the years that when the 49ers have great kick return games, it impacts the game. Back in the day, they had John Taylor. John Taylor was fantastic in the punt return game and the kick return game. And then Ted Ginn. A lot of people forget that if Ted Ginn would have been healthy all the time, he single-handedly beat the Seahawks, that first year when Harbaugh was there in 2011. So these guys can make a big difference. Cordarelle Patterson, like you said, positionless player, fits where you can actually use his roster spot in a number of ways, play running back or receiver. So he gives you a lot of flexibility. Somebody the 49ers definitely should look at because, they have a certain particular role they want for Jalen Hurd. Cordarelle Patterson might be a guy that could duplicate that role, not at the level that Jalen Hurd can, but that way, just in case if Jalen Hurd doesn't pan out, you have somebody that can do that stuff. So Kyle doesn't have to completely scrap an entire part of his playbook. He can leave it in there, and that way too, if Debo gets nicked or something, Cordarelle Patterson can do some of those, gadget run plays and stuff like that. That would really help the offense in 2021.
And I can tell you, although he might not be the greatest route runner or the greatest running back, if you put him out on the field, the other team's deep safety knows he's out there.
Correct.
He's a threat because of his top-end speed. He may not have a specific position that he excels at,
right.
And but he's a threat because of top-end speed. He's always going to be a threat.
Yeah, and he makes it maybe not hard to game plan for because you know what he is, but if you have a scheme or a plan in place and you want to run certain coverages on certain downs, you can get him on the field and completely blow up whatever a team's idea is on second and longs, we want to do this. On first down we want to do this. On third and short, we want to be in this. If he's on the field, can take you out of that coverage, or you have to roll the dice and risk it. And if you roll the dice and risk things against Kyle Shanahan, that's just a game of when. Because at some point, he is going to get the right matchup on the field, get the package on the field to execute something that's going to completely shred your defense on any given play and result in a big play for the 49ers and points on the board. So Cordarelle Patterson is just, it's like you've been saying about certain guys, it's another toy in the toy chest for Kyle Shanahan.
Right.
And the more toys you give him, the more things he can do, and the more things he can do, the more dangerous he is.
And one thing that people don't always think about too is forcing your opponent to do extra practice towards something that they normally wouldn't practice towards. So if you put this guy in the return game and all of a sudden now the special teams has to worry about Cordarelle Patterson in that game, then all of a sudden, then now they're practicing more on that and not focusing so much on Kyle Shanahan's offense or defeating this defense, and it just takes away from that. So that's another thing to look at.
Yeah, I agree. He's a threat. Think Marcus Goodwin, but he can return kicks.
There you go.
The type of threat he possesses.
I think he's a little bit bigger too.
He's like 6'2", 230, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he's a fairly large guy. He's not on the small side at all. But yeah, Cordarelle Patterson, definitely a guy to watch out for. Definitely a possibility. Could absolutely improve 1/3 of the 49ers overall team. And that's 1/3 of the game. That's kind of a big deal. And it's just an area that we've struggled with, like you guys both pointed out. But you don't have to struggle finding a podcast that you can trust and that you like. It's right here. We're here. Hit that subscribe button right now. Hit that notification bell. That way you're notified every time we post this glorious content, which has been coming out daily. That's right, daily. I bet you didn't see that coming. I know I didn't. It just kind of happened, and we were like, let's do this. So we're enjoying it. We hope you're enjoying it too. Let us know what you think about Cordarelle Patterson down in the comment section below. Let's have a conversation. You guys like him? You think he can help the special teams? Let us know.
What specifically do you like about him, too? Let us know.
Yeah.
Yep. And is it him or is it Richie James? Who would you rather have returning kicks?
Absolutely. Well, until next time, 49ers fans, you stay safe.
And remember, the right way
Is usually the 49ers way. Wait.
again.
Oh, it's always the 49ers way.
Bingo, horse.
It is. You okay over there?
No.